my project that I am presenting is on the theory response essay, and I chose the Similarity-Attraction Theory. The Similarity-Attraction Theory states that we are most attracted to those that are similar to us. So similarity can look a lot different and normally includes multiple things. It normally doesn't just include one thing. So a few different things can be socioeconomic status. We're generally attracted to those that have the same socioeconomic status as us because of proximity. So if you think about a neighborhood, you're generally going to be attracted to those around you rather than someone downtown who doesn't have a lot of money. Race. The one thing with race is that it's constantly changing in ideas of what's acceptable and what's not. But with that being said, many are attracted to those that have the same race because we share that same level of similarity, that we know that they go through the same things we do. And party affiliation is another one. Many people who prefer a party will tend to be drawn to others that share the same party. And gender. Many individuals in the context of friendships are drawn to those that are the same gender and share that level of intimacy in the friendship. So with similarity attraction theory in social media, for example, on Facebook, it's been widely researched on social media more recently because the similarity attraction theory kind of had a dropping off where it wasn't being researched as much because it focused on contact face-to-face. But now with social media on the rise with different platforms, it's starting to be more researched across the board of different social medias. So we're all connected in different ways with mutual friends, likes, retweets, shares, and much more. So the problem with social media and the similarity attraction theory is the level of attraction, if any, that is seen on social media. The similarity attraction theory isn't seen on social media platforms through a like or a retweet or a favorite because more often than not, there is no real meaning behind them. We constantly are liking and sharing and retweeting and doing things like that we don't really think, hey, I'm attracted to this person because of this. With that being said, there's a level of similarity and attraction with those that are tagged in photos and in posts because one would have to know the other to know what they like or dislike well enough. So you can really see who's attracted to who on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram by those that they tag and share and things like that the most. So the similarity attraction in friendships, they can change over a lifetime because our similarities change. If we look into the friendships of males and females, there is no real contrast between the two, but in males, there's a trend that there's no real level of similarity when they're young because most of the time when they're young, they like each other, hey, just because he's cool, or hey, just because he has this cool thing. But as they grow up, however, they are more likely to be drawn to one another based on similarity. Like if they played this sport, they'll be drawn to that person who plays the same sport. In females, though, there's a trend to be friends with those who are the most similar and help increase positivity and fend off loneliness. So females, when they get older, they typically want to be with someone no matter what, to help fend off the loneliness that they feel. So the similarity attraction theory in relationships. In relationships, the similarity attraction theory is most prevalent because we see attraction as what we all come to mind when we think of attraction as liking someone, but that's not technically what attraction can be. So many are aware that we are attracted to those that we find likable and often have similarities that are the same. Most people would consider it odd if someone was to date someone that shared no similarity because most know that the more differences lead to the more problems that they will have. So in relationships, there's been a study on communication if we're drawn to those who communicate like us in relationships. And though it was a good research and gave us information regarding it, even though it came back that there was no real attraction to those who communicated the same as us. It did, however, show us that communication does affect friendships. So it states that we are more likely to be attracted to those who share the same communication as us in friendships. So if we're outspoken, we're most likely to be with someone else who is outspoken and will say what's on their mind. If we're more soft-spoken and reserved, we're more likely to be with friends who are more soft-spoken and reserved. Because of the fact if you mix the two, say a soft-spoken and an outspoken, the outspoken one will most likely start hurting the soft-spoken one's feelings just because they're being heard more often than the soft-spoken one. So this real world similarity attraction theory can be seen in many instances because we're constantly participating in it, whether we are aware of it consciously or not. So some examples include school. So in schools, no matter what the grade is, we generally are attracted to those that we have similarities with. So these similarities can include small things that we don't really recognize, such as like how they dress, or if they're part of a sports team, and we like that sports team, or if they're a part of band and we're in band and we're around those people, then we'll be attracted to those that are in band. Versus like bigger things such as race. When you go in a school cafeteria, you normally see segregation, just because we're more attracted to those that share the same things that we're going through. It can also be seen in colleges, when we find a roommate especially. So when we start deciding on a roommate, we typically decide on someone who is neat like you, if you're neat, or if you prefer to be a little messy, you don't want to be paired with someone who's really neat because they're constantly going to be angry. And you might be attracted to those who share the same TV shows or movies that you like. That way you can binge watch things together during finals week, or who wants to study the same thing as you so you can kind of get through it together and take the same classes and kind of study together. Though that's not a huge one, many people can sometimes be roommates with multiple people who share differing levels of knowledge and ideas and what they want to do with their life. Another one that many people wouldn't recognize that I took into consideration was Barack Obama. So during Barack Obama's campaign and presidency, so during Barack Obama's campaign, he was the first African American who ran for president and won. So with that being said, it caused there to be a rise in African Americans who supported him. That's because they shared the same background and race as him. So coming from their standpoint, they knew that he would understand what it's like growing up African American in a predominantly white society. Even post-presidency, there was a hashtag going around that was "Not My President" that showed that they still considered him and held him to a high standard and still were attracted to him out of office. And then the other one is Donald Trump. So Donald Trump's presidency showed how the similarity attraction theory can change. So if you think back a couple months ago when he chose his presidential cabinet, he chose those who were having the same ideas as him, that kind of had the same outlook, were wanting the same things. And then recently we're seeing them drop one by one because of different things. Like they don't share the same similarities, so therefore the attraction there is no longer there and he can fire them like that. So it really goes to show that when our similarities start to differ, our attraction to them start to regress. So with the similarity attraction theory, so what? So the similarity attraction theory and the research behind it, there's been connections drawn to similarities and the exclusions of groups. So many have researched and looked into how the similarity attraction theory can really segregate society, that if you're Asian, you typically understand what Asians are going through, or if you are African American, you typically go through the same things that African Americans go through. And so it leads to an awareness that even though we're attracted to someone and based on the similarities, differences can help a society progress. And so the similarity attraction theory really states that we're attracted to those that are similar to us, but differences also help. And that we all don't want to be robots walking around looking like each other, talking like each other, and having no real set example of who we are as a person. So the similarity attraction theory really focuses on similarities, but it kind of normally in every source it talks about how differences do help towards fending off that segregation. And these are the citations that I used in my research and in my PowerPoint. Thank you.